I'm sure everyone's pretty familiar with Zoom etiquette at this point, but just remember to keep your microphones muted for the duration of the presentation. We are asking that you utilize the raise your hand function if you do have something to say, versus typing any questions you have into the chat. Our staff has just found it really much easier to manage the Q&A this way. So, so please do, don't hesitate to raise your hand through that function if you have a question. The call today is going to be recorded and will be available along with the PowerPoint presentation and any associated resources via our website early next week. And then finally, please keep an eye on your chat box for some helpful messages that will be shared throughout the course of the presentation, the chat today by our CFE team members, Kayla and Jamila. So let's get into it. We have a lot to get to. Today's presenter is KJ Hardy, who, among other things, is my partner as my co-executive director at CFE. KJ has a master's from DePaul University's counseling program, where she also taught for 15 years. KJ was a therapist before falling in love with fundraising. She currently facilitates various women's groups, support groups, through which she's cultivated a self-care practice that she feels is perfect for sharing during this pandemic. So KJ, I will toss it over to you.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. Lovely seeing your faces. Hi. Do what's comfortable for you. So video on, video off. Raise your hand or don't, put things in chat or don't. This should just be whatever you need it or want it to be today. So before we get started, I just want to show 2 slides. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see that? Okay. So the first thing I want to point out is this. I'm definitely not a substitute for your doctor, therapist, counselor, pastor. I'm not a medical professional, a therapist, a counselor. I'm not certified or licensed by anyone. And I'm not giving any thoughts or ideas that could be substituted for any other care that you're getting. So I just, to put that out there, this is just stuff that works for me. And I definitely shouldn't be substituted for medical advice. And the second piece I want to share is this slide about the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They do amazing work across the country. They're a nonprofit, and their goal is to destigmatize how we talk about mental health and how we pursue getting assistance. This is going to be posted later, so you'll have this information. This has their hotline listed, which is Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, and then their email. They have all different kinds of volunteers available to talk with you about how you're feeling, if you're having struggles, if you need referrals to counselors. So I just ask you to lean into this resource if this is something that you need. And with that, I'm going to talk about Let's Breathe. So the first thing that I want to share is that I want us to have a centering process. And this is something that I do every day, several times a day, frequently, which involves designating a time when I could have time to do something for myself. And that within itself is tricky, especially during COVID. I found it difficult before, and maybe some of you did as well. But now even more, we need to find a way to get centered. And so my centering practice, which I'm about to teach you, involves finding a time. Our time is right now. Extending grace to myself. And that grace is this voice, this tape playing in my head. I'm not doing enough. I should be making better meals. I should be helping him more with homework. My kids should be getting more nap time in. I'm not working out. What about that art project? To just give ourselves grace and know that we're all doing the best we can. And that's all we can do. you know, we're riding a wave, and I'm finding, and you might be finding this as well, that there are days when we feel pretty good. And then there are days when we're really in the dumps and it's hard to get out of bed and maybe we're not sleeping well. So just giving ourselves grace, like cut yourself a break. We're all just doing the best we can. I'm going to walk you through the breathe, the pick 3, and the breathe. So I'd like you just to be somewhere comfortable right now. So I think many of you are probably in a chair. Maybe you're on the couch. But I want you to take your hands and have nothing in them. So I see your hands. So I would just put your hands on your knees. I would just put my hands on my knees. And then I want to shrug my shoulders a little bit back and forth, just to kind of let my body know that something different is happening right now. And then I'm going to close my eyes. So if you're comfortable, close your eyes. And if you're not, that's okay. But I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose for about 5 seconds. Let's breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let's just blow it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then keeping your eyes closed, breathe in a way that feels natural to you. And be aware of the fact that so many of us are holding our breath and we have a tight chest and a tight throat. And so we want to not hold our breath. We want to find it and easily let it in and out. So we're giving our body the cue that we're doing something different right now. Now what I want you to do is picture yourself at the bottom of a staircase. It can be in a house, in the woods. It can be at an office or a school, any staircase. Just imagine it. And it has 8 steps. So we're going to start at the bottom step, and you're going to put your hand on the railing, and you're going to slowly walk up each step. So we're going to walk up together. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're at the top of the step, and there's a door. If you can picture the door, put your hand on the doorknob and push the door open. Okay. And there you see a box. So I want you to bend down and grab the box. And I want you to open the box. It's empty. And I want you to think of your 3 biggest worries right now. Keep breathing and think of your 3 biggest worries. It could be financial. It could be about your children or your grandchildren. It could be about your students, your donors. It could be about global crisis. Come up with your top 3. And I want you to say it in your head, the first one, and then blow it into the box. Put the first one in the box. And now I want you to think of your second worry. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to just blow that into the box. And now let's do our third one. Just blow it into the box. You're doing a great job. So now I'd like you to close the box. And I'd like you to put the box back on the ground. And I want you to take a step back, and I want you to pull the door closed. And now you're at the top of the stairs and you're looking down. There's 8 steps, and we're going to go down those steps together. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you're back where you started, and your breathing is easy, and your worries are upstairs in that box, and they'll still be there later. But right now, we're not going to tend to them. So let's take a deep breath in for 4 seconds. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's blow that out on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then open your eyes when you're comfortable. Okay. I hope that that was relaxing for you. That's a visualization that I do with all of my groups, and we do it at the beginning of every group. And some women find themselves doing it at bedtime, especially. I've done some groups where we actually created the box, and then we write our worries on slips of paper and put them in the box. So it's kind of a take what you will from that and use whatever part of it works for you. But that's the start for me of self-care, is centering. And I find myself doing that on the train, on the bus, in my car, not closing my eyes. Don't close your eyes. But thinking to myself, I know I've got this ticker tape in my head about all the things I'm worrying about. And right now, I can't tend to you. I'm just going to put you over here in this box. So I do that throughout the day, and it's really helped me manage anxiety and stress. Part of what I also do is, and I've done this for about 25 years, noticing. And that's something that I want to teach you today. And noticing is about getting yourself in the present moment, not in the past and not in the future. There's so much unknown. There's so much ambiguity. And we humans don't do well with ambiguity, right? We want to know, when are we going back to school? When are things going back to normal? When can I stop wearing this mask? And we just don't have any of that information. And so to deal with that, I do a lot of noticing. And that comes from the 5 senses. So I'm going to show you a document that I use. In one moment. This is just one of my brainstorms that I use with my groups. We think about what we see, what we can taste, what we can touch, what we can smell, and what we can hear. And at different points in our day, we can access different ones of these. So this is about shifting your body and your body's experience. And you might decide in the middle of having some panic, you know, feeling your heart flutter or your face get flush or your palms start sweating, or that thinking through your head getting a little too loud, you might say to yourself, wait, I need to notice 3. I need to notice 3 things I see. And then you could look around and count 3 trees. You could count the 1 sun, the moon. You could count your 2 feet. You could count the number of cars in the street. And you'll find that it'll bring your heart rate down. The taste part, generally you can't do that all the time, but I like to have lemon drops around. I like to have something sweet, water. Sometimes I use soy sauce, sometimes milk. And I know people who use Tabasco. So this is about altering your brain state by firing up some different neural pathways. So if you're in a panic and you take a piece of maybe cinnamon candy or lemon candy, it will change the way that you're thinking, because you start to think about the sensation of your mouth watering. So that's kind of what the taste is. Touch can also help, and you can use touch at any point in time. So in a meeting, you can tell yourself, all right, I'm just going to put my hands on my knees and I'm just going to feel the sensation of the fabric on my fingers. Or I'm going to squeeze my earlobe gently, or I'm going to massage my hands, something that helps me bring my brain back to the present moment. And then it's the same with smell. I do a lot of aromatherapy and a lot of essential oils. And then the last part is what we hear. I often tell my son, he's 15 and he has special needs. And so what we do throughout the day is all of this, all the time. And putting on a song, a video, calling a friend, stepping outside to listen to the birds, or clicking a pen back and forth can distract your brain from all the panic and worry. So I just wanted to kind of show you this layout of your 5 senses and how you could use noticing to get your brain into the present moment. So again, that daily practice of centering, I do that in the morning and I do that before bed, and then sprinkling throughout the day a few of these. And what I found is that I'm now at the point where it's automatic, kind of like brushing my teeth. I don't think about brushing my teeth, I just do it. And when I can feel myself, my heart flutter or my worry get big, I'm able to access each of these and pick one that's going to work in the moment. And lately, it's a lot of lavender, a lot. It's a lot of using a diffuser. I also find myself using my LED candles everywhere I go. I mean, in the house. I'm not taking them in my car. Water, and then surrounding myself and my desk with some pictures that I can look at. So always having things at hand that can distract my anxiety in the moment and instead get me present. And this isn't about not having the feelings of anxiety, because we do have to figure out how to cope with that, but it's about how you deal in the moment to not have it become a full-fledged panic attack or have you do a deep dive into that whirling, twirling depression that a lot of us are dealing with right now. So that's centering and finding 3 among the senses that you can use to distract. I do want to talk about having a self-care plan. I find that, as most of you do, as the incredible educators that you are, you have a plan, a lesson plan, a daily plan, maybe an hour-to-hour plan, and so it is with a self-care plan. So I say, don't judge yourself, don't be hard on yourself, just start. So pen, paper, notes in your phone, a Google document, whatever's going to work for you, just write down for the next 5 days 2 daily goals and just give them a time. And this isn't so that you're perfect and you do it every day and you do it at the right time. This is just to give yourself a little bit of a guide that you might lean into. And what I do, what I've done in the past is after 3 days, I go back and I look and I see, okay, wait, at 7:30, I said I was going to do 3 notices of things outdoors. I haven't even left the house and it's noon. So what's getting in the way of me leaving the house? Well, I'm really depressed and I can't seem to get out of the house, or I'm so overwhelmed with all the work I'm doing, or I'm overwhelmed with what's going on in the world. I know that I need to tweak something about my self-care plan. And what helps me is enlisting a self-care buddy. So maybe you know someone who you can text, who can kind of be a self-care accountability pal. And you can say, hey, did you do your breathing? Or, hey, have you had water today? I've got a Marco Polo group of about 20 women, and that's what we do for each other throughout the day, is little nudges, so that even if we're not looking at our 2 daily goals, we have a quick nudge of, hey, drink water, and then in the moment, we drink the water. So part of this is having this plan, but another part of it is having a system that supports you with the plan. So I would urge you to find yourself a self-care buddy, or, you know, it's a friend you already have, it's a family member, it's a coworker, where you can kind of gently nudge each other and not judge. You know, what are you doing? You're not doing your self-care, and what's going on, and why aren't you doing what you need to do? But instead saying, hi, honey, you haven't had any water today. You're not responding when I'm texting you. I'm a little worried. Please drink some water today, so that we're extending grace and we're being really gentle. So the self-care plan, again, writing it down and having it be very simple daily goals. I don't do a half-hour meditation, but I know that works for a lot of people. And I'm not out walking an hour a day, but again, that works for a lot of people. What works for me one daily goal that has really helped me is an orange shower. Have any of you had an orange shower? Here's what an orange shower is. You take a mandarin or an orange or a grapefruit and you cut it into fours as if you were about to eat it. And then you get in the shower and you squeeze it in the water, and then you set it at the drain in the shower. And then your shower will be citrusy. And it is a very good way to wake up your senses. So I do that. I'm not going to say every day because honestly, I'm not showering every day. Let me be truthful. But the days I shower, I'm doing that. And my son does that as well, which really helps him a ton. The lotion is just a great thing for my brain to settle it in. But again, pick what is very simple for you and uncomplicated. Even if it's one cat video a day, one phone call with a friend a day. Try to have 2 simple things that you can do for yourself. I'm going to move ahead and then shortly just open it up to a discussion. I wanted to share this handout with you. So this is called Distress Tolerance Worksheet. These are all over the internet. Just Google distress tolerance and you'll find a million of these. And what I love about this is it taps into our 5 senses. And this is all about self-care and the different ways you can take care of yourself. So if you see taste, chew on your favorite gum, touch, put a cold compress on your forehead. That is a huge way to shift your focus. Put it on your forehead or on your wrist or on the back of your neck. Ice can really change the way your body's feeling. So I wanted to share this as a point of reference that you can come back to, and you might just pick 2 of these things to be your 2 a day. You might share this with someone who's struggling, but I think everybody can find a couple things on here that will help you soothe yourself, which is the whole goal of self-care is I'm soothing myself, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm being rooted in the present moment and not so worried about what happened yesterday or the big, great unknown that's before me. So again, that's distress tolerance. I'm going to end the share. Okay, I'm back. So I do want to share a couple of quick exercises and then we'll open it up. So one of them is tapping. Can you raise your hand if you know about tapping or if you do tapping? Not talking about tap dancing. Okay, so this is kind of fun. I am not a certified tapper. I'm not licensed. This is what I've been taught by some therapists, and this is what works for me and my family. Tapping is about gently touching parts of your body while stating something out loud. Sometimes people do it in their head. You can do it whatever way works for you, but it's having a mantra that you're telling your body right now, this is what I'm focusing on. So tapping for me usually starts right here, and I'm just really gently touching my cheeks. Sometimes I do it right here, and sometimes I alter. But I'm generally thinking in 3s. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then I think of what my mantra is. So for me, what's been really great is I'm okay. I'm here. And I tap, and you can join me if you'd like on your cheeks right now. And we'll just do a few of these. I'm okay. I'm here. It's going to be okay. I'm here. I love myself. It's going to be okay. And then I might move to my heart, because this is another really great way to get in touch with yourself. Right here, right now, I'm okay. Right here, right now, I'm okay. Some people use tapping as a way to pray. Some people use it for meditation. I use it to snap my brain out of stinking thinking. So if I find myself, a good example is my son. He's a 9th grader and struggling struggling. He was struggling pre-COVID, and now not having access to what he usually does, these amazing services by diverse learner support, not having that and having me instead, which I got to tell you, I'm not a teacher. I don't know how y'all do it pre-COVID. I honor and respect what you're doing right now. It is above and beyond what any of us could ever dream of doing. I know that I'm not doing 100% for my son, because it's not the gift that I have. So I worry about that a lot. And when I'm helping him with something and he's freaking out and I start to worry, I do a little tap like this, and it's barely noticeable. And sometimes I do it in my head and then nobody knows I'm doing it. So tapping is something that can help you no matter where you are. And again, it snaps your brain out of the state that it's in. I don't know if you all have watched, what's that show, y'all, with the dog and Caesar Milan? That show where a dog is, freaking out and he goes up to the dog and goes, psht. That works because it's all about your mental state and snapping you out of your neural pathway. I just want to reiterate. So we're centering, we're doing some breathing. We are noticing 3 things at any one time. We can do some tapping, use massage. And right now, what I'd like you to do is go into the chat and type in something you can do to soothe yourself. And then we can look at what everybody's coming up with. Let's just take a minute and you can type in one thing you can do. Sarah hangs eucalyptus. Oh my God, that's brilliant. Walk through the park.
It's not my idea, but it works.
It's brilliant. Stretching, yes, good. People take baths, people snuggle up with a good book. Does anybody else have anything they do? Long walks. Great. Something that, here we go, pressure points. Yes, that's excellent. Cleaning. Oh, I need you to come to my house, Miss Stovall. Come on over. I mean, in 6 months, you can, yeah, because I'm not doing that. Lighting your favorite candle. Yes. Baking. Absolutely. These are great. 5 minutes of peace in the morning. I love it. So if you just Google self-care ideas, bam, there will be tons of them. And some of them are cognitive, some of them are emotional, physical, they're all different. So you can fit them to your learning style. So again, thank goodness for Google. I want to transition into discussion and any questions or anything anybody wants to share. So if you want to raise your hand, Sarah can call on people. So let's give it a minute for any of you that want to share or ask anything.
And KJ, you touched on this a little bit, but I think, there's a lot of really great ideas of what to do and what things work for people, based on their interests and sort of what, speaks to them. What's sort of like your quick and easy way of ensuring this is a priority for people? So it's one thing to sort of like identify what works for you, but then another thing to actually ensure that you do it. So holding yourself accountable. Yeah. Do you have a recommendation there?
I do. I would say 3 things about that. 1, have a buddy, have a self-care buddy, because when you have someone else who's in it with you, who's facing this pandemic, this global trauma we're all in, someone who can hold your hand and nudge you a little bit, that helps immensely. So have a buddy. The second thing is, like anything else, the more you do this, the more you'll do this. It's a muscle that you can flex. So like I said earlier, we brush our teeth every day. And at dinner, my son and my husband and I each give one validation to each other. It's something we learned when he was in residential care. So we started doing that at one dinner, and suddenly we started doing it at every dinner. And you know, it's like people say grace, we just automatically do validations. And that's a real centering thing too. So it's, for me, it's really just been what might feel good. I'm going to try it for 3 days straight. I'm going to see what it feels like. I'm going to have Jordan call me and ask me if I'm doing these things. And if I'm not, I'm going to try 3 other things. So it's just like when I tell myself, let's do sit-ups and planks tonight. Maybe not. Jordan will nudge me at 9 p.m. and say, did you do your sit-ups and planks? And I will say no. And she will say, please do so right now. And then we support each other. Sometimes we do it together and we do FaceTime and watch each other do it. So it's about having a support system, I think is most important. Have someone else in your life who can nudge you, and then give yourself the grace that it's not going to be perfect, that you might not want to do it and you can maybe push yourself anyway, and that really you're just trying. You're just trying. And I want to add the notion of we're doing the best we can. I say that, but I want to caution us, because the best we can doesn't mean perfect, and it doesn't mean excellent. It really just means in this right here moment, the best I can do is drink this water and watch this show, you know, and maybe be kind and be gentle. That really is all I can do right now. I think if there was any self-care practice, I would start there with grace. That's a great question, Sarah.
Thanks, KJ. So we also, it looks like, have a hand raised. Ms. Hudson? Let's see. Kayla, oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
And I get up, I notice that what I do is I normally get up early in the morning as if I was getting ready to go to work. So, and that helps me to stay motivated, and I would change clothes, do everything like as if I'm going to work. And then I would call friends up from work and during this pandemic time, if I'm not doing Zoom with the students, and we talk about what you have for breakfast, what you're gonna have for lunch, and we take pictures of the food, you know, and I'll send it to them like, this is what I'm having for lunch, this is what I'm having for dinner. And so it becomes where they regularly gives me a call every morning because they know I'm gonna be up, so it's no disturbance. And you know, we just discuss about, well, what are you going to do today? And I said, well, you know, I have 2 meetings in Zoom with 2 different classes with my students, and I discussed what I'm going to do later in the afternoon. And then about 5 o'clock is like realization time, where television gets turned off and the tablet and the phone gets turned off. But sometimes you have to have that peaceful me time afterwards, and that way you can really meditate, even if it's for an hour, you know, and it gets you ready for, okay, dinner time, I'm going to prepare. So at that time I'm all relaxed. I've already talked to all my wonderful coworkers, and then that me time is me, and then the television and phone, everything goes off at 10 p.m. and I start back up early in the morning at 6 in the morning.
That is awesome. You're teaching us a way of adhering to a schedule, which I think definitely brings a lot of us comfort, right? That we have a daily schedule. And I bet maybe you have mornings where you just don't want to get out of bed, but you do it anyway. Yes. Are you all feeling that? Making yourself get out of bed?
Well, I feel that when school starts, if I don't keep that routine, I don't want to be late for work.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
So I just keep that routine. And then you can also look at chores you haven't done. Like for me, it's like, okay, what are you gonna do with the filing? You have some paper shredding to do. Why don't you get that done and, you know, do that like maybe every other day so that you won't stress yourself.
That's good.
You know.
Planning ahead. I love it. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So KJ, a question that came in through our registration portal, I thought was so interesting, and I just thought a great question. So this person asked, should self-care be dependent on someone else? So you gave an example of where it would be a great choice to have a buddy, right? Someone, an accountability buddy, let's say. This person's saying, though, do I have to have, for example, my husband with me to practice self-care, and is that healthy?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a great question.
So 1,000,000%, you don't need anybody else to practice self-care. It's pretty great if you're all on the same page in a household about self-care, but I don't know a household that is. I will tell you that I'm on Weight Watchers, and my husband and son are not down for being on Weight Watchers. And it's okay because I'm doing it for me. I'm managing it for me. They're making different choices, and I don't have to be responsible for their food choices. I need to have that internal locus of control around self-care, where I determine what I'm going to try, and then I tell myself I'm really important to myself. It's important to take care of myself. All these students counting on me, and these parents, my grandkids, I can't do anything for anyone unless I'm taking care of myself. And we all know what burnout looks like, right? We all know what fatigue looks like. And, you know, this question, Sarah, this great question really brings up compassion fatigue for me, which is that feeling like there's so much going on in the world, and my kids are suffering, or, you know, all the voices, people don't have enough food. And we start to really focus on that, and we create an exhaustion, a compassion fatigue. I'm sure you all experience this, the vicarious trauma of being a helper. And so we've got to have some solid boundaries, which the woman mentioned earlier, of like tablet off, phone off. Like, those are excellent boundaries. In my house, the news is never on. We do not turn on the news because it makes us all, you know, not do well. You know, another boundary that I have, there's a couple people in my life who are very much struggling in a big way. And before this, I was talking to those folks every day, and now I'm kind of pulling back a little bit, and we're talking every couple of days because I have to draw the boundary and not trigger myself over and over. So having those boundaries and putting yourself first. I mean, we're women, right? We're taught we are not first. We're taught put everyone ahead of us. And if we can learn a self-care practice right now during a pandemic, it will be that much easier to do later when we're not in the middle of a crisis. So you definitely don't need anybody else. It'd be great to have a buddy, to have a support system, but doing it for yourself is what's most important. Even, can I add something? Even if you're faking it, fake it. You're not feeling like you love yourself. You're not feeling like you're worth putting number one at the list. It's okay. Fake it. Fake it and get out lotion and rub your hands. And, you know, fake it and let yourself take a nap.
That's great, Katie. That's so helpful. Again, we just encourage you, if you have any questions, to, you know, certainly pop them in the chat, raise your hand. Also, as Ms. Hudson did earlier, we, you know, certainly would love to hear other people's perspectives. Even, you know, just a little bit of an, you know, elaboration on maybe what you shared in the chat about what works for you. You know, everyone's different. And so as many ideas as I think we can get, the better.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's leave
Hello?
that. Oh, go ahead, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hello.
Okay. My sharing is a little different because I am an individual who I go to work and church and pretty much in the house. I love to be in the house way before the pandemic. So this is actually, I have a different story, a different intake about being in a house. But now that I'm in here, I have just decided to create my own joy and make sure that I do that every day. I don't necessarily have a plan. It just come about because the first thing I said, you're not going to sit here and torture yourself. It is what it is. Let's try to do something different. So I'm learning things about myself, and my child just as well. I rarely have ever really sat down and ate with her at a table. I just had to be honest here. Like, we don't, it's a eat and go here. Eat and grab, or fix a plate and you off to your thing, I'm off to mine. But just sitting here Netflixing with dinner on the table at an actual dinner table. So with the TV, we play Uno, we play checkers. So I'm just grateful for the small things. And I'm hoping after I get all the small things and it's grounded in me, then I will become strong and helpful for someone else. Because just like you shared, there has to be boundaries. Now, I do get up, and I do, because I just found out that the news is trying to kind of mentally tearing me down a little bit. But I am a news person, so I done came to the conclusion, not, have a boundary with news, only 30 minutes, okay? I like the fact with you with the phone call. We want to be helpful to others, but sometimes when you're sitting still and you're receiving all of that, sometimes that become overwhelming. So I am learning so much and trying to deal with what I learned and do better. The cleaning has been wonderful for me because I learned I'm a hoarder. I'm a teacher. I have paperwork. I bring everything home. My life it comes home. It goes back and forth. So the cleaning I found to be amazing. So co-workers share a purging with cleaning, and it's like a meditation. That was so awesome. Never did that before, but it just felt so good, like to just sit there. I only do like maybe 15 minutes, pick a bag, rip up paper, my name straight, and it feels good. It sounds weird, but honestly, it's all the little things that's feeling weird and good.
Yeah.
Go to church on Zoom. I try to keep up with that. We keep up with Bible studying on Zoom. My students on Zoom. So with you ladies, it's joyful. I don't know you, but it's a pleasure to be sitting here looking at different faces. I have company this morning, so I'm happy.
How
You guys.
wonderful.
Just trying to find joy, even if there's none, you can seek and find. If it ain't a book, or I'm calling people, I'm not a phone person, but I do try to get up and send something motivational to maybe 3 people that I don't normally do. Just trying to focus on things that I don't normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been honestly going well. Seriously, it has. It sounds strange, but it is what it is. And I just wanted to share with you ladies.
Thank you for sharing that. That's very powerful. I would love for you to email us and send that cleaning meditation, because I need something to get.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That would be
meditation. Yes, online.
That is fantastic. And one thing that came up for me, which is really a big part of self-care that you mentioned, is gratitude, and really having an attitude of gratitude. So really being grateful for the things we do have can also help us be centered, right? So, something basic such as water, plumbing, a house, a job, fun nail polish, little silly things as well we can be grateful for. Friendships, love. This network that we have with each other this morning is very powerful.
Yes, it is. It feels good.
Wonderful.
So KJ, thank you so much, Ms. Stovall. That was lovely. A bunch of chats came popping through while we were just chatting. Just some ideas. I think this one is so. I personally feel this one deeply. So Erica said, I made a choice early on in this to just refuse to allow myself to get upset by things that normally would annoy me. I try to be extra patient with my children and husband, doubling down on loving language and affection. I'm getting full on goosebumps because this is so important, I think, for a lot of people, but I think I have very young children, and it just, to be reminded of that is I think so important. And to give yourself, you spoke earlier about grace and giving yourself the space to like not do everything perfectly all the time and fail and learn, and the space for your family to do the same is just so critical. So I just thought I'd share that one. Then we're lots of talking about acts of kindness and limiting news when you can, because a lot of it is very difficult to digest on a daily basis. And then Irma mentioned that she, the table that she works at daily, she decorated with flowers. And so she sees that as she's working every day. And I think what a sort of relatively simple choice to make, but it really, what you're looking at can really change the way your attitude is, right? Like the way you are approaching things. So
yeah, for sure. One of the five senses, right? What you see of what's around you can either turn your brain vibration up, or whoop, the news can take us down to a whirling, depressive state. I do have one more activity that I wanted to do before we closed out, but I want to make sure if there's anybody else who wants to say anything or ask anything, that you have the opportunity. So let's just give it a few seconds here to see if there's anything anybody wants to say.
Jill did just pop a resource into the chat. She took a Yale University happiness course, and she said it's free and very enlightening. So we will include this in our resource recap that we have on our website along with this chat, but just wanted to note that.
Yeah, thank you, Jill.
I'd like to share that sometimes, because sometimes since we're stay at home, sometimes no matter how cold it is, I'll just open up the window just to get that fresh air circulating in the house, or even just sitting on the back porch. I'm like, I need air. I just need some fresh O2. I don't care how cold it is outside. And something my daughter's gotten back to doing, we do, especially since this is the month of Ramadan, henna. And she's getting really good at it.
That is fantastic. Thank you.
So it's little stuff I do with my kids I haven't done in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ms. Hudson might have another comment. Let's see. There we go. Are you see?
Up there.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm bringing this up because, Mother's Day is coming soon. So I'm not a mom, but I do have friends and coworkers who are moms. And one of my coworkers, they called me this morning, and we were just trying to suggest, well, what do you do so now everything is so closed in? And so we were suggesting, well, doing nails and toes. And I said, well, maybe your daughter can do your nails and toes, and you can do hers, and do each other's hair. So if you have nail polish at home that you haven't opened up, this is the time.
Mm-hmm.
And do that pedicure and manicure. And I think that would help out. And check out your favorite beverage, whatever it may be.
Those are great ideas. Do your home spa, right?
Yes. And that will save you a lot of money. I've learned I've saved at least $500 per month from this COVID, from just going out to dinner.
Yes, right?
Yeah, so those are the things that I've learned, and my checking account looks really, really good and healthy.
Oh, that's good to hear. Okay. Is there anything else, Sarah, or should I move on to the closing? Oh, Malcolm, go ahead.
Move on.
I wanted to share before you even brought this up. So I made myself a rule when this all started that I wanted to go for 2 walks a day. And I have to have become very kind to myself, because certain days when it's really rainy, I haven't been able to make my 2 walks. And then I reward myself and have another day where, like yesterday, I went for 3 walks. So it's okay for me if I'm not able to get my 2 walks in, you know, I try to forgive myself and then to get in an extra walk a different day. But just going out there, I have beautiful parks right by my house. And just to appreciate the trees, see the blooming buds, and it just lifts up my spirit. So I just wanted to share that.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, outdoors is a good place to be, even if it's crummy. Okay, fantastic. Thanks everyone for being on the call. Let's wrap things up with something that in the morning, at night, if I can't sleep at night, if I wake up in the middle of the night, this is kind of a self-soothing that is a closure for me of like transitioning to the next activity, which is kind of what we're about to do, right? We're going to get off this Zoom and then head to whatever's next. So I take my hands. This is very simple. I'm going to invite you to do this with me. And I take my right hand and I put it around my left shoulder. Do you know what's coming? I take my left hand, I put it around my right shoulder, and then try to get really tight, like get a really tight grip in there. And then I close my eyes and I take a deep breath in and I squeeze as I blow out. And sometimes I rock back and forth, like when I'm hugging my kiddo, swinging him back and forth. And I take in another deep breath and I blow it out. And then I open my eyes. So you can give yourself a little self-love before you step into the next thing. You're also lovely, and I want you to know that those of us at the foundation, our board members, our junior board members, you know, thank you is not appropriate. We just love, love, love you. You're on our hearts, you're on our mind. We can't thank you enough for what you're doing right now for children. It's immeasurable. Thank you, and take good care, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining today. Just quickly, if you have any other needs or interests or themes you think would be good for one of our community chats, we do try to do one of these every Friday. And up until this point and for the next couple of weeks, there'll be all very different topics. So some are sort of half classes, half discussions like this one. Next week, we're doing a live yoga class. And so you can come and participate and do some yoga for, 30, 45 minutes. But if you have anything like that or anything you just want to discuss, talk to us about, we're here. We're, as KJ said, we're not, medical professionals, but we are, have big hearts. And like she said, we just adore our educators, and we're so incredibly grateful for what you've done the past several weeks and what you are continuing to do through the end of next month and beyond. And we'll continue to be here for you every step of the way. So happy Fridays, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers in the crowd, and hope to talk to all of you soon. Bye.